ICANN world. How are you all doing? I hope you have a lovely weekend. It was Mother's Day here in UK. If you're in UK, last Sunday, and I went down to see my mother, and surprisingly, something happened. So I wanted to just share that with you, so you've all got an idea of the kind of things that can happen, and the kind of things that go on when you don't expect it, or when you tell everybody what you're doing. Now, of course, I've been doing this for a long time, so pretty much everyone that knows me knows what I'm doing. But here's a little snippet for you, something that might help you if you're looking and you're searching for angel money, the kind of things that you could do. So I was down at my mother's for Mother's Day, and of course, my mum had a whole list of jobs she wanted me to do, as she does. My mum's 80 and I am an only child, so therefore, all of the list of jobs that she has always get thrown at me. Some of the jobs that she was asking me to do were things like Sky TV package was the contract was coming to an end, the broadband was coming to the end, her mobile phone contract was coming to an end. We had also car breakdown cover coming to an end. And of course, one of the other things that she wanted me to do was look at her ISA investments. And obviously, we're coming to the end of the financial year, so April is a new financial year for ISAs. And so she wanted me to just check what was out there. So we started having a look, and we had a look at what was there. And realistically, the best ISA cash account we could find was about 0.5%. And we were looking at ISA savings into stocks and shares type accounts, and that was probably anything between 3 and 5%. So pretty rubbish, right? Rubbish returns, 0.5% or 3%, absolute rubbish. Anyway, I wasn't there to sort of mention that. My mum was looking at it, and she just turned around to me and goes, "That's not very good, is it? That's absolutely rubbish." I said, "Yeah, unfortunately it is, mum." She goes, and then she said to me, "But Neil, you could get more than that with property, couldn't you?" I said, "Yep, absolutely, no doubt about it. I'll get much, much more than 5% on property investing." So she said, "Okay, well, why don't you invest the money for me, and we'll have that kind of interest from you instead." Now, I wasn't asking for money from my mum. I wasn't there to do that. I was there to see her for Mother's Day, bought her some flowers, and do all her little jobs that she wanted me to do, and spend 2 hours on the phone to Sky getting her a better package. But that just came out of nowhere. Now, that's just that's not unusual. That's not an unusual example. And I wasn't looking for money. I wasn't really after it, but I'm going to invest it for her into a property so that she can get some good returns for it. And you guys need to understand that if you're out there hunting for angel money, as we call it, you're looking for people that've got money in the bank and they're seeing the same thing. They're looking at these returns. They're saying, "I'm going to go on somewhere like Money Saving Expert and look at what the best bank accounts are doing." And if you're lucky, you might get ones that give you 2% on your first £1,000, or 0.5% for everything else, or cash ISAs that are only really, if even if they're locked in for maybe 2 or 3 years, you might get something like 2 or 3%, and that's absolutely shocking, isn't it? Also, we have a broker who we deal with for investments, stocks and shares, something, and we were having a chat to him. And funny enough, he was actually responding on Sunday to us. The weekend, there's a funny story there, but he was responding away because he knows my mum, when she decides she wants to do something, she just has to have it done right there and then. And so he was coming back to us, and we were asking him the question: if we gave you this money, what kind of returns are you able to definitely achieve? And of course, their answer is always, "Oh, well, we can't guarantee returns because the markets are up and down," which stocks and shares always are. And that's a classic response from them. They did say that, over the last few years, they've managed to get 5% pretty comfortably across the board with their investment strategies. In some instances, some years maybe slightly less. So that's what we were working our figures on. And when you do that and you look at that and you go to somebody and you're talking to people with money, or money, not massive amount of money, some money in savings or sitting there, and you're looking at it and they just think, "Well, that's not very good." And what can you do as a property investor? As a property investor, you can get them even more than that. Now, you should easily, comfortably be able to be getting someone 5%, 6%, maybe even 7% return on their investments through property investing right now, without a shadow of a doubt. So when you talk to these people, you can comfortably say, well, if you were to lend me that money for 6 months to a year, I can definitely return 5% on that money for you within the year. And you can do this from property if you're buying it right, and if you're doing the right things, and you're being coached and being mentored, and it's all being explained to you, and you've got somebody to make sure you make the right decision, because it's really important to make that decision right when you're buying property with other people's money, isn't it? I mean, I remember the first time I bought property with somebody else's money, angel money. I was absolutely making sure that every little tick was making sure I was buying at the right price, I was going to get the right valuation that I said I was going to get, and I could do the refinance within 6 months to 7 months to get them their money back. Now, on my very first property, I offered them 10%. That was some time ago now, and I turned it around, refinanced in 7 months, and I still gave them the full 10%. You know, you could have split that over the year and said, well, it was just under 1% per month, but I gave them the full 10% because I wanted them to have that promise that I promised them, and I had allowed for that in the calculations. And as a result, they asked me if I wanted the same money back again to do the next property. And that's kind of the way you should be going with these kind of things. So really what I'm trying to say to you guys is you never know where it's going to come from. The most important thing you've got to do is tell people what you're doing. Tell people that you're buying investment properties and you're buying them and they're getting you great returns on your money. Better returns than any bank. Now, if they have money and they're interested, they will just talk to you about it and they'll ask you about how it works, or they'll just offer you the money if they're family and friends. It happens, and it happens over and over again. It's happened to me multiple times just from me mentioning it, and I wasn't even at that point thinking I'm going to ask that person for money. It just happened. They just said, I'll get involved with you on that if you can give me those kind of returns. So hopefully that's been a little bit useful. That's my weekly little live update for you guys. Hopefully you're out there, you're searching, you're finding your properties, you're doing what you've been taught to do, you've got your coaches or your mentor on board, you've used ICANN at some point, you've had me or any of our other people that we work with involved and getting you on the right path to becoming financially free. And using other people's money to buy those properties is really important. It will accelerate you, because when your money runs out, what are you going to do? You can't buy any more. So you need to use other people's money, and other people's money is the cheapest form of borrowing at the moment, other than mortgages. So there you go. Hopefully that's been useful for you. It's Neil Stewart from ICANN Training, and have a fabulous week. Enjoy the bit of sunshine we've got. And if you've got any questions, you know where I am. Just ask away. Take care.